AIA Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get on to AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Tampines Hub for the final couple of matches this afternoon before the international break. At Jurong East, Tanjung Pagar take on Balestier Cow. So we focus here at OTH for the Eagles and the White Swans. Albirex Niigata needing all 3 points to go back to the top of the table before the break after the Sailors win yesterday. Geylang could be 7th by the end of today if they lose, and Tanjung Pagar United pick up maximum points against Balestier. So plenty of movement possible in the league table this afternoon as we approach the halfway mark in the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season. Team news on the way shortly, and there's some significant absentees to tell you about. Before we get you that team news, let's go down pit side. Faranaya is with both coaches. She'll hear from Keiji Shigetomi after she's caught up with Noor Ali.
Noor Ali, the last game in about a month before we head into a little break. Albirex today, how important is it that you get a result here?
I think every week I get the same question. So, of course, every game is very important, especially when you are at the bottom of the table right now, you have to just keep working hard, and just go out there, be positive and try to get a result.
Of course, we know it's not going to be an easy ask going up against the champions today, but what is your game plan here?
I mean, we always go out to win games, so definitely you have to cut out certain things that with this Albirex team, because they are very, they have good teamwork, and basically, if Hashioka is going to give you a lot of problem down the flank, and they have very good number 9, Suboy, so I don't know whether he's going to be on the pitch or not tonight, but but they still have good replacement in the team to be able to play that part, so maybe the Suzuki guy will come in and feature for him. Yeah.
I will tell you that Suboy will not be starting today. I just had a chat with KG just now. Does it change anything for you?
I mean, with Albirex, it's not going to change anything much. Of course, Suboy adds a bit more fire. He has scored so many goals in the league. But saying that, they are a very collective effort. They have everyone down there working hard together as a team. They defend together, attack together as a team. So that's their team strength. So we have to match them in that way tonight. So we have to really work hard as a team and work together as a team to achieve a good result.
KG, Geylang today, what are your thoughts ahead of this?
We just play as usual, but it will be a tough match because it's an away match at Tampines Hub.
Now, the last time out against the Young Lions, despite winning, you weren't too happy with the performance. What have you worked on from last weekend?
We need we need to improve the quality of our attacks. So we have been working to make it even more exciting.
Now, I have to ask you about Suboy because I saw him on crutches and I know that it was because he got injured the last time out against the Young Lions. What is the update on him?
It's very unfortunate that he's injured. So he cannot play for the time being. However, we will do our best with today's members.
KG, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, bad news for Albirex Niigata, and let's face it, bad news for the league. I can tell you, I've been speaking to the higher-ups at Albirex Niigata, and Kiyoshiro Suboy, 11 goals so far this season, has a PCL and MCL issue. So ligament damage for Suboy, and that would suggest he's going to be out for quite some time. Of course, he has got a month plus to recover after this match before the next match day. The officials led out by our female referee, Albirex Niigata. More bad team news for Albirex is the complete absence from the squad, not just of Suboy, but of Karuba Kondo as well. And when you consider that the two between them have scored 15 of Albarex's 25 goals this season, as you heard from Shigetomi, they are going to have to get things going up front. You could argue that the Eagles are there for the taking. They've had a torrid season so far, and once more Norali is forced into more changes as injuries and selection unavailability continue to plague the Eagles. We'll confirm those starting lineups to you in a minute, but I can tell you there are 4 changes to the 11 that started in the 5-2 loss to Hougang here last week. Geylang in their famous green and white with their Japanese captain and former Albirex Niigata player Yuki Ichikawa. And here come the defending champions, and up until yesterday the league leaders. They must win today. A draw will not be enough to see them go above the Lion City Sailors as we cross over the halfway mark of the season. 4 titles in the last 5 years for the White Swans. They're looking to make it 5 out of 6 in 2021. So the pre-match formalities will shortly be underway. The fist bump and will be good for action. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening at Jurong East, of course, throughout the duration of this broadcast, where Tanjung Pagar take on Balestier Khalsa. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, defeat here for Geylang and victory for Tanjung Pagar could rise them up to 6 in the table, which would be their highest league placing since they returned to the division last year. So what can Geylang do here? They have shown signs of spirit and life in recent weeks. Disappointing, no question about it, losing 5-2 last week, but narrow defeat to the Sailors when again they had to improvise as they do tonight with their starting 11. And that 4-2 win against the Young Lions, 3 games back, just their second win of the season and their first since the opening day. What about this man? How influential has Hashioka been? Kazuki Hashioka, the Albirex Niigata skipper, just about the only thing he hasn't done so far this campaign is score. He's got 4 assists, he can be lethal down the right, and I'm told that Darren Tay will be tasked with keeping Hashioka quiet. Great to see Albirex Niigata, who officiated Geylang's game against the Young Lions, which was only their second win of the season earlier on. Here is the 11 for Geylang International. 4 changes. Wayne Chu comes in. Sanders Surajin, injured last week, hasn't recovered. Ilhan Noor, the son of Noor Ali, will come in at right back, with Firdaus Kazman past fit late on to take his place in midfield. And Chris van Heusen is back in the starting 11 as well. Incidentally, with Wayne Chu, he was the goalkeeper that started in Geylang's 4-2 win against the Young Lions. Take that as a good omen, if you will. There's Leonard Coe, the team manager of Geylang International. Let's check out with the White Swans now. And despite their injury problems with Suboy and Kondo both out, Kondo being that familiar presence from the bench, they're both missing, but only 1 change. Suboy replaced by Ryoya Taniguchi, who returns from suspension, and it's the 2nd straight start for Ryosuke Nagasawa, who had that long spell out with a shoulder issue. He plays for the 2nd straight game, 2 games in a week. Nagasawa, they've coped well without him to this point. Can he pick up where he left off last season and put Geylang to the sword here? So we're almost set for kickoff. I hope you're safe and well wherever you're watching around the world, live on Singtel Star Hub, the One Play Sports Facebook page, and of course the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, as well as Norali shakes hands with the 4th official, Manoj Kalwani. The 2 assistant referees, incidentally, today, Jay Ashok Raj and Kwan Yong, and Amy Rekka, the last man to the party. One thing about Geylang here, I expect them to set up in a similar way to how they approach the game against the Lion City Sailors, and that means Barry Maguire will be used as a makeshift centre-back. He had a great game that day when they only went down by 2-1 to the Sailors. The question is, can they get the service to Maresh, the leading goal scorer with 7 this season? And when you bear in mind that it was announced earlier today, as we intimated last week, that Silvano Convalius has left Singapore and retired from football completely after signing off in his football career with a cracking goal, albeit a consolation goal in that 5-2 defeat to Hougang last week. The options for Geylang are even more limited now the Dutchman has gone back to Amsterdam. Silvano Convalius, who only had a brief stint here but scored 2 cracking goals, one here against the Young Lions and that consolation against Hougang last week. So they've got no Convalius. They've got injury problems galore with Noor Lukman, Umar Akbar, Adam Hakim and now Sander Surjan all injured. Can the makeshift Eagles pull off the shock of the season so far and get the better of the champs? It's Albirex in the orange, playing from right to left. Geylang in the green and white, playing from left to right. The early long throw over the top, and there's Barry Maguire taking up his position in that makeshift centre-back role. Maresh, I think he's been one of the most influential players in the division this season. The Brazilian, 7 goals so far, including 2 in that 4-2 win against the Young Lions and 2 in that 2-1 win on the opening day against Tanjung Pagar. The bottom line is, if Geylang are going to win, he's got to be involved and almost certainly has to be on the score sheet. How Albirex cope without Kondo and Suboy is going to be interesting, because only Taniguchi has scored more than a couple of goals this season when you take them out the mix. There's Elijah Lim, was trying to thread it through to Maresh. No dice on this occasion as Albirex try and get it away with some committed challenges sliding in the middle of the park from Geylang. And Darren Tay will mop it up and get it back to Ichikawa, who was an Albirex player for a season between 2012 and 2013. That slipped my mind yesterday. He makes his 201st SPL appearance today, Yuki Ichikawa, as that ball over the top from Maguire will sail through to the safest hands in the SPL this season, Takehiro Koga. 4 clean sheets so far for Koga, who has already proved himself, I think, the best all-round keeper in Singapore, and has that habit, doesn't he, of almost being employed as a sweeper keeper behind a very reliable back line with Yamashita, Tezuka, Tokiwa and Hashioka, who almost plays at times in front of the back line, and on other times you'd almost think he was a right winger. Now, long ball over the top, which is looking for the run of Nagasawa. And Nagasawa, did it come off him last? No, it came off Ilhan Noor, making his 2nd start of the season. He played in that Lion City Sailors game, got booked early there, but I think by and large defensively did a decent job, Ilhan Noor. A lot of pressure on you, and you're the coach's son coming into the starting lineup. Here's a throw for Albirex in close quarters, and just getting it away there was Nicky Melvin Singh, who I think everyone's agreed, like the other Singaporean in the starting lineup today for Albirex, Ong Yuen, has improved immensely from being surrounded by these Albirex players. Barry Maguire gets it back to Wayne Chu, making his 2nd start of the campaign. He was in goal when they beat the Young Lions by 4-2. That was their last victory 3 match days back when they triumphed at Jalan Besar, and that's come off Taniguchi and behind. Yeah, Taniguchi back from suspension, but with no Suboy and no Kondo either, who I'm assuming would have started if he'd have been fit. But no Kondo on the bench, as has been their go-to guy. Kondo tends to always come on at half-time, so they're not as strong in terms of the strength in depth today, Albirex, as we've seen in previous weeks. And that's dropped nicely for Faris Farhan, who's penalised, unfortunately. Referee just getting a grip on things, Abirami Naidu, telling them to cut it all out. Faris Farhan was sent off in the opening day of last season against Geylang in that disastrous game for the Eagles when they lost 4-0 with Sharin, now at Tanjung Pagar, and Faris Farhan, both seen red on that day. Now, here's Tokiwa. Tokiwa across the edge of the 6-yard box, and it missed everyone out, and it needed Darren Tay to come up with a clearance. Albirex already dominating possession, as you'd expect. Swung by Kunimoto. Oh, it's missed out Darren Tay that time, and this is danger. Albirex into the 6-yard box, comes off Ichikawa, and inexplicably, Albirex are the ones to pick it up through Taniguchi. Taniguchi gets it back to Chiku, and now the shot fired in by Tokiwa, and blocked by the backside of Ilhan Noor, I think it was, but Albirex are all over Geylang early here. Here's Ong Yuen, and that is a flag up And a free kick for Geylang to alleviate the pressure that's been served up to them early through the first 4.5 minutes here at OTH in this final day before we take the whole of June off for what we will hope will be a successful trip to Dubai and then to Saudi Arabia for the Singapore national team. And then, of course, the much-anticipated AFC Cup games that are scheduled to be played in Singapore. Whether that happens or not, I'm not sure, as that ball's going to have to play. Lion City Sailors obviously in the AFC Cup, as are Geylang, whose strong finish to last season secured them a berth in the AFC Cup. They're in Group I against Kaya of the Philippines and Terengganu, and one other club to be determined by a playoff. Those games are scheduled for the end of June. It'll be interesting to see if they take place. Yesterday here, Tampines signed off in their last game for potentially 50 days, maybe even longer, with a disappointing 3-2 loss to Hougang. As Ichikawa gets that clear, but not convincingly, and Darren Tay's header will drop down to Hashioka, who's such a menace down that right-hand side, and his hustle's brilliant there. Albirex monopolising possession. Tezuka, Hashioka at the races again down the right-hand side, this time with Ong Yuen, and they'll win a throw. Yes, it was a stunning game here yesterday. If you haven't seen it, make sure you catch up with the highlights on the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page. Well, that's a very questionable clearance from Elijah Lim. He does better at the second time of asking, and here's a first touch of the day for Maresh, who wins a free kick, and he was clattered into there. Well, when he goes down injured like that, the last thing they need is Maresh absent through injury. And that was an uncompromising tackle from Kazuki Hashioka. Yes, 46 shots on goal yesterday, incredible. We had 5 goals, could have had 15 the way it went. Tampines denied what appeared to be a clear-cut penalty decision at 3-2 in the second half. And they just couldn't find a way past a very resolute Hougang backline. The Cheetahs have really come into their own this season, having had a bit of an off year last year in terms of their results. After a very impressive 2019, they're very much back in business. But if Albirex fail to win here, are we seeing the start of the Lion City Sailors era? That narrow and unconvincing, it should be said, 1-0 win against the Young Lions yesterday, enough to see them to the top of the pile. And it will be the first time that they top the table if Albirex don't win here. I say first time because even though they're top of the table, it's a bit blasé to say they've gone top when Albirex had the game in hand, being played 24 hours later. But if they do stay top after that international break, I wonder how long it will be before the Lion City Sailors are disposed at the top of the AIA Singapore Premier League, with the news of Harris Harun's imminent arrival back home to become a Sailor. He played for the former... Oh, he's through here. Chances, it's lined up for Taniguchi. Can he finish? Taniguchi, blocked by Ichikawa. And Van Heusen scrambling back. Albirex all over Geylang International early here. Yes, Kim Do-hoon also, if you've been under a rock this week, he's been appointed the Lion City Sailors coach. He'll join after the international break, the man that won the AFC Champions League with Ulsan Hyundai. So exciting times for the Sailors, worrying times this for the Eagles. As Albirex Niigata continue to dominate, just can't get a kick or any kind of foot on the ball here at the moment. Now, that was well won by Amy Reka. Still a throw to Albirex Niigata, this game being played almost exclusively in Geylang territory, but they'll get that throw. It must have taken a touch on the way through. Ilhao Noor gets it back to Maguire, gets it to Wayne Chu. Taniguchi will be putting Wayne Chu under pressure, and Wayne Chu's clearance is a bad one. It's straight down the throat of Tezuka. Oh, what a leave that was. Wonderful leave by Nicky Melvin Singh. And they can't string more than 2 passes together at the moment, Geylang, as it goes back to Takahiro Koga. And he's not really had a touch as a goalkeeper, Koga, so far in this game. He's only playing effectively as the 11th outfield player, the way this tide is turning. Van Heusen, back to Darren Tay, who's been tasked with trying to keep the lethal Kazuki Hashioka in check here this afternoon. Maguire. And Wayne Chu, who is going to be put under some pressure here. Wayne Chu, and Nicky Melvin Singh was entitled to do what he did there. Maresh gets the touch and tries to pick up the second phase, but he's out-muscled there by Tezuka, who does really well. Now Hashioka on the overlap. They'll find the little magician down the right, but they'll only get a throw out of it. Still goalless, incidentally, through the first 9.5 minutes at Jurong East. Tanjung Pagar United 0, Balestier Khalsa 0. Tanjung Pagar looking for their second win of the season. Look how far out of his goal. You can't see it on that picture, but Takahiro Koga, if the camera pans out, look how far in advance he is of his goal mouth, because there's no pressure from Geylang. He's effectively playing as an 11th outfield player here. And you can't underestimate just how significant that could be, because Geylang are just clearing it and anywhere will do. And he's got the luxury of not really having to worry about making a save at the moment. They'll have to be careful if Maresh gets it in range. He's got the kind of touch and guile to maybe beat Koga from range. Nice pass found by Yamashita. He's got both goals in the 2-2 draw against the Lion City Sailors. One of 2 games this season where Albirex have thrown away a 2-goal lead. They were 2-0 up against the Sailors at Jelabasar. And they were 2-0 up, remember, against Tampines here, but were pegged back to 2-2. See what the header does from Takiwa. Behind for a goal kick. Well, it's looking ominous for Geylang early here, but the positive is they haven't conceded. And unlike Tampines, who continued their remarkable consecutive goal-scoring run, I think 46 games straight with a goal now. Albirex, of course, have drawn a blank once this season in a 0-0 draw with Balestier. And Geylang also were unlucky to go down 1-0 when the teams met at Jurong East earlier. Faris Farhan, as Amy Rekka's on the deck. Faris Farhan just working out what to do here. Amy's still on his haunches. Ilhan gets it back to Barry Maguire. Can Geylang get anything going offensively here? For all the possession they've had, Albirex, it should be said they've not created any gilt-edged opportunities. And again, is that going to be the tail of this game with Suboy and Kondo both missing? Dominating possession but not turning it into goals. And there was a Paul trying to thread it through to Amy. It wasn't the worst idea in the world from Ferdaus Kasman. Back to Koga. Koga playing the short pass with Chiku, who more often than not does tend to drop back to operate as a centre-back. Chiku, they interchange their positions on the pitch so well, Albirex. I was talking to Noor Ali earlier actually about Hashioka. I mean, he seems to cover every blade of glass with ease. Now, Nicky Melvin Singh over on the right-hand side is going to get this back. Nicky Melvin Singh, only Taniguchi in the middle. Nicky Melvin Singh, Ichikawa and Van Heusen all over him, and Ichikawa does well, as does Van Heusen, and Darren Tay can bring it away. And he'll be pushed in the back by Ong Yuen to get Geylang a free kick. Yes, I mentioned the long break in the SPL fixture calendar after today. 50 days from yesterday to when Tampines are next scheduled in action. That could be longer. You don't know what's going to happen with quarantine and all those kind of logistical issues after the AFC competition. After this, well, next game scheduled for Geylang is on the 2nd of July against Balestier. That's if the AFC Cup goes ahead, unlikely, I'd imagine. And 10th of July against Tanjung Pagar. And there's a crucial run of fixtures from Albirex, who, of course, I spoke to Komuti, one of the top brass at Albirex earlier on, and their plan is just to continue with the light training schedule, while obviously the Singapore national team are in action, and 3 teams from the Singapore Premier League represent Singapore in AFC competition. Here's Nagasawa. Oh, Nagasawa darts into the box beautifully, Nagasawa. And it was a good covering challenge in the end. It was a little bit industrial from Elijah Lim, but it did the trick, because that was wonderful off a standing start from Ryosuke Nagasawa, who had that shoulder injury that kept him out for a large chunk of the start of the season, only just returned to action. You're going back to Albirex Niigata, so they'll keep up a light training plan. Oh, they've given it away to Chiku. They're lining up here to take a shot. Back to Chiku! First shot on goal that's on target, and Albirex make the breakthrough, and you have to say to an extent it has been coming. How many opportunities did Geylang want to give Albirex in and around the edge of the box there? And Chiku had time to pick his spot and guide it masterfully past Wayne Chu. And Chiku's first of the season has given the White Swans the lead here at OTH early. Kosuke Chico. Barry Maguire back to Wayne Chu. That was a shocking clearance, and he wasn't really helped by his defenders. And look at that. I mean, it's almost like a training ground goal. It's the kind of shot you see the players take during warm-ups without any defenders putting any pressure on them. And you fear for Geylang now that the waters have broken here. Yes, and I better get this news about what Albibrex's plans are during the month-long break. They're going to continue with light training. Obviously, they've got that injury problem over Suboy. The break will help them in that regard to try and get Suboy well, though with the injury said to be a PCL and MCL with his knee, I'd imagine he's going to take longer than a month. It might even be 2 or 3 before he's back in action. I saw him at the ground here today on crutches. And they've got 3 big games when the league restarts. The next 3 games for Albirex, at home to Tampines, at home to the Sailors, then away at Hougang. So the 3 teams immediately around them. Next up, Amy. Therese Farhan, was that a push? Yes, it was from Kunimoto. Yeah, so those games scheduled to start. Well, there's a game scheduled, the Tampines game, which is supposedly the Community Shield or the Charity Shield. That's scheduled for the 19th of June. I can't see that happening. That's already been rearranged once due to the COVID issues. Have to say, I think the Singapore Premier League authorities and the FAS deserve a huge amount of credit for getting us through the last 2 weeks, bearing in mind the COVID-19 issues that have been going on around Singapore and indeed the world. So we've done well to get to the halfway mark in the season as Maresh comes through here. Now Maresh can get hold of this. He's looking for Amy, but didn't quite gather. And how many opportunities are they going to get like that around the edge of the area, the way the possession battle is going here. Yes, just a reminder, not just in Singapore, wherever you're watching in the world, do stay safe. I think the message in Singapore is clear at the moment. Stay home, stop the spread. We've had lockdown essentially in Singapore, or circuit breaker as it is called here, while the football has continued around it to some degree in certain phases. And we have seen fans sort of sneaking into nooks and crannies to watch games. I think the message this time is please stay home and watch the football on the television or on your smart devices. Play on here. Therese Farhan looking for Maresh, and that was a very good covering header by Yamashita because Maresh was lurking there. So a couple of encouraging signs from Geylang that the damage has been done in terms of going behind. Every time a Geylang player goes down, poor old Noor Ali must be panicking. Elijah Lim, the latest man to go down, all the injury problems they've got. Abbasad, by the way, is here. You'll have read that Abbasad is back in Singapore to continue his coaching qualification course at Jalan Besar. All the coaches have been part of that, being carried out virtually due to the new state of restrictions in Singapore due to COVID-19, but he has officially joined Geylang, just waiting for the clearance to take his place in the dugout alongside Noor Ali. He's in the stadium today watching from the stands, and everyone that was a fan of football in Singapore in the 90s will know it's great to have Abbas back. Brings with him a wealth of experience and knowledge of the global game. Had some success coaching in Australia. Kunimoto back to Koga. Yamashita going long, looking for the run of Taniguchi, and Taniguchi's going to get on the end of this, and he's going to have support as well with Ong Yuen with him. Ong Yuen gathers it. Back to Taniguchi, who's found another player at acres of space in midfield. They'll switch it to this near side, and Takiwa squares it, and Wayne Chu gathered it just as Nicky Melvin Singh was rushing in. This was fine margins. Nicky Melvin Singh wasn't a million miles away from this. Not the worst first-time cross in the world. Nicky Melvin Singh a fraction of a second away from getting on the end of it as Barry Maguire plays it to Ichikawa. Still goalless at Jurong East. Tanjung Pagar nil, Balestier Khalsa nil. That game like this one live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports. Play-on's a call here, and Van Heusen could be in business. He's got Maresh ahead of him, and Amy Recker coming in on this right-hand side. Still Van Heusen, back to Maresh. Now, can Maresh dart into the area? Maresh, what's he got in his box of tricks? The answer is not very much. He passes it straight to Tezuka. Geylang at least coming back into this game a little more now. Amy Recker is down on the edge of the area here. He's the third Geylang player to go down with an injury through the first 20 minutes. They are dropping like flies, the Eagles here. Apologies, it's not Amy, is it? It's Faris Farhan that's down this time. Well, Amy Rekka's been down already. So Elijah Lim, Amy Rekka and Faris Farhan now down. He's going to require some treatment. This doesn't look good. He's gone down holding that right ankle by the looks of things. Has he taken a nasty tumble? Options off the bench for Geylang. Well, not exactly plentiful in the striking department. No recognised strikers on the bench here. As we get a look at Van Heusen. This opened up momentarily for Geylang here. And they'll be desperately hoping Faris Farhan can continue. They've got Ikram Rifki on the bench. Much less experienced Azri Suhail and Furkan Ralph. Noor Ali, well, it's a lonely life being a football coach when your team is struggling. He's had no luck at all with injuries. Obviously, it's disappointing, I'm sure, for all concerned that it didn't work out with Silvano Convalius, who's officially retired from football today. If you're late to the party, I did mention that earlier in the broadcast. He signs off on what was an incredibly successful football career at 33 years of age to go back to spend some time with his family. Spoke to Silvano last week, and obviously due to COVID-19 it wasn't as easy to get his family to Singapore as he'd had hoped. There is Abbas Saad in the stands. He's wearing the Geylang colours, so he's looking rather fetching, Abbas, in that Geylang top. I'm sure he'll be in the dressing room at half-time as they try and dig themselves out of this latest hole. Yeah, Silvano Convalius got a couple of goals in Singapore, both crackers. Didn't really happen for him here. I think a combination of just bad timing, injuries as well. But his class, both as a man and as a player, I think is there for all to see. Had that stunning season in Bali when he couldn't stop scoring. As part of that Bali revolution that's made them a force in Indonesian football. That record in Bali was something else. 37 goals and 34 appearances. Much travelled. Now back home with his family in Amsterdam, and on behalf of everyone in Singapore and in the Singapore football community, we wish him all the best and safe passage home. Here's Nagasawa. Tezuka. Over the top from Yamashita. Route 1 stuff here. Wayne Chew's got a come, and just about gets it at the second time of asking. If you are just joining us, the goal coming not against the run of play, it has to be said, as Kosuke Chiku got his first goal of the season after completely losing his mucker on the edge of the area. Play that by Amy. Still goalless, Tanjung Pagar and Balestier Khalsa. Remember, if Tanjung Pagar can win there, they will go into the international break above Geylang, and what's more, they'll have a game in hand as well, so could be a great day to be a Jaguar today, mind you. Long way to go yet. They've still got to get the win against Marko Kravic's men. Well, Albirex Niigata, I thought they might go for the throat after making that breakthrough. It was looking oh so easy for them just to monopolise possession in the Geylang final third, but they've just taken their foot off the gas, and they'll be advised to put this game to bed because Geylang are the kind of team obviously struggling, beset by injuries, a makeshift formation, and they've got quality in their ranks. If Amy, Van Heusen, or most notably Maresh get a chance, possibility that they can convert. They've only drawn 2 blanks all season, Geylang. With that 1-0 loss at Jurong East against Albirex, and the 8-0 loss against the Lion City Sailors here earlier in the season. Taniguchi has that taken off his toes by Darren Tay. And the free kick goes the way of the Eagles. Don't forget to keep an eye on the progress of the Singapore national team. They depart for their training camp in Dubai on Tuesday. Keep an eye on all the Football Association of Singapore social media channels. We wish all the best to Tatsumi Yoshida's men. It'll be fascinating to see if the 3 Fandy brothers all play in the same team. They're all in the squad, the 3 Fandys. Ilhan Iksan and, of course, Irfan, who's had a stunning season at BG Patum in Thailand. Wonderful to see him back wearing the red of Singapore. there were some injury concerns for that squad yesterday. If you watched the game here yesterday between Tampines and Geylang, Jackie Adnan, who was a call-up, deserved call-up as well for his first appearance in the national squad, he went down injured. There was a cut for Yassir Hanapi to deal with, and Shawal Anwar was taken off as well. So I hope all those three are okay to take their place on that plane to Dubai. We wish them safe passage, and it'd be great to see them get a result. We've got games against Palestine, Uzbekistan and Saudi Arabia upcoming. Now look at this run from Nagasawa! Pulled the trigger, always rising above the bar of Wayne Chu, and that will bring up the first half hydration break. Whistle blown and the signal given by referee Albirex Niigata, and the game at the moment being settled by that goal that Albirex, certainly on the balance of play, just about deserved. But they'll be glad they made the breakthrough early, because they don't at this stage look in free scoring form, and they clearly are missing that option of Suboi up top, with Kondo also missing from the matchday squad. As we're up and over the halfway mark in the first half and approaching over the halfway mark in the season. Well, this is Wayne Chu to Barry Maguire, and when Barry Maguire got it back to the young keeper, his pass just wasn't good enough. He was looking to get it inside to Ferdaus Kasman, and they were queuing up, weren't they, the White Swans, and it was Kazuki Chiku who becomes the 9th Albirex Niigata player to score this season. Well, as I said, the injury problems they've got, Geylang, don't give them too many options on the bench to mix this up. There was a question mark over the fitness of Ferdaus Kasem. Will he get through the 90 minutes too? Elijah Lim, will he be able to stick at it for 90 minutes? We'll wait and see. But bearing in mind how much possession they've had and how they've dominated, the only positive for Geylang here is that they trail only by 1. They clearly haven't been able to get Maresh in, and Wayne Chu has to take some responsibility, I'm afraid. He didn't really have much help, it must be said, from Barry Maguire, and more so Ferdaus in that passage of play. But it's always the danger. I have an ongoing debate with people about the short goal kick routine, and I know the football aficionados and scientists, my dear friend Roche Laurent, will be telling me, you know, it's the way to go when you have the long goal kick clearances. There's a higher risk percentage that you're just giving the ball back to the opposition. But when you're overmatched, as with the team selection that has befallen Geylang, they are here today, trying to play it out tippy-tappy from the back is wrought with danger against a team like Albirex, who just will not give you a moment's respite. They'll harass and they'll harry. And the short routine of trying to play it out from the back has essentially cost them conceding the opening goal. Now Van Heusen tries to find Maresh. If Maresh can just get that ball in front of him towards the Albirex goal, he's already proved he's capable of producing moments of magic this season in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Here's Amy Recker. Amy back inside to, he's trying to get it to Ilhan, but it was telegraphed by Nagasawa. And look at the space now that Tezuka's got to operate in. At times it looks like they're playing against 10 men here, Albirex, the ease with which they're passing it around each other. Goal scorer Chiku out wide where Hashioka will be lurking. That's a loose pass, so Elijah Lim can pick that up. Van Heusen just hesitated momentarily there. Ong Yuen's picked it up. Now Hashioka. That's another positive for Geylang, I suppose. We haven't seen too much from Hashioka so far. We've seen plenty from this man, though. Nagasawa looking to pull the trigger! Good save, Wayne Chu, but the rebound tapped and it won't count. The flag's up. It was Taniguchi that latched onto the rebound, but the flag was up straight away from the assistant referee. Over on that far side. Kwan Young, I think it is, the assistant over on that far side. And let's have a look at that again. I think it was a correct call. It won't be clear-cut from this angle. I think it was from the previous one. It was a good save from Wayne Chu, and you can just about see there, it looked from that angle he was offside, and I think Taniguchi knows it as well. That reaction tells you all you need to know. So good work from the official over on that far side, and Geylang can breathe a sigh of relief. There's Wayne Chu. I don't mind having another look at that goal, actually, as Wayne Chu, again, is put under huge pressure with his clearance. Let's have another look at that angle if we can when we get the next break in play. Some suggestion, of course, the player has to be behind the last outfield man for Geylang when the shot is hit. Usually the players know, don't they? And there wasn't much in the way of dispute from Taniguchi. Now Hashioka. Oh, marvellous from Hashioka. The magician's in business here. Hashioka, well anticipated. Barry Maguire. Chiku picks up the pieces. It comes out to Faris Farhan. Now Van Heusen. Maresh is all on his own up top. Will Maresh be able to chase this down? He's got in business here, Maresh. He's got goal side of Kunimoto. Maresh! Oh, would have been a screamer. Into the side netting. And that wasn't a million miles away. And there's Exhibit A in the case to tell you that Albirex Niigata might need more than one goal here. Well, that's the kind of effort on goal that in the days of packed stadium, the whole crowd on the far side would have been thinking that would have hit the back of the net with the way the net was ruffled. We'll give Takahiro Koga the benefit of the doubt. On that angle, you can see a couple of feet away. And while we're watching that replay, Maresh is now down injured. And is that a calf? Oh, they cannot afford to lose Maresh with a calf problem. I think he might have just signalled there to Amy Recker, it's tight. Well, if they lose Maresh, goodness knows what to make of it. Can't be cramp after half an hour, surely. I'm getting the thumbs up from Amy there, which is something. And it probably won't do Geylang any harm to break this game up as much as they can. The more it becomes free-flowing and open, the more it will suit Albarex's crisp passing game. They'll be living off scraps for the next hour, Geylang International, but Maresh went close there. And some encouragement for Noor Ali. And for all that they've had a poor season, there's no escaping it. Reminder, they only went down narrowly against Albirex, where they conceded in the first half against the run of play, it should be said. Went down narrowly to Balestier Causa, went down very narrowly here to Tampines in the first East Coast derby of the season. Maresh got 2 in that game and they went down 3-2. Battle back from being 1-0 and 2-1 down to get it back to 2-2 before going down. Then they gave the Lion City Sailors a real scare. Maresh levelling it up after the Sailors had taken the lead through Stipe Plazibat after a shocking mistake from Darren Tay. But there's no escaping that performance last week against Hougang wasn't good. The 2 goals they scored late on really masked the dominance that Hougang showed that day. But even that result's been made to look better, bearing in mind what Hougang did to Tampines yesterday. So I'm just trying to be balanced here. There's no getting away from the fact that Geylang are having a bad season. As Tanjung Pagar United take the lead against Balestier Causa, so more evidence that Geylang are having a bad season. As it stands in the league table, they'll drop to 7th tonight. Ilhan Noor will be trying to do this for his father. Elijah Limbs miscontrolled that though, and they were a bit fortunate there that Nicky Melvin Singh didn't do more with that pass. Well, the Jags lead the Tigers. The Jaguars on the brink of their 2nd win of the season. And there was no Lewis Jr., I think, in the team sheets I saw. As Wayne Chew's able to pick that one up in a rather bizarre passage of play. Well, Taniguchi's only just back from injury. He's now down, holding his right ankle. And again, Barry Maguire. How many times do they have to have the warning siren go off with this tippy-tappy trying to play it out from the back? Wayne Chew is not their first choice keeper. He's obviously going to be up against it, and I think if they are going to play it out from the back like that, the first rule of thumb's got to be once he's given it to Barry Maguire, the ball's got to go forwards, not backwards. It's the 2nd time they nearly got caught out just like the first. News of that goal for you from Jurong East in just a moment, as Taniguchi, who was suspended last week, is back in action. And obviously Suboy being injured now is a blow, particularly if he's out for a couple of months, but they've got Nagasawa back, who had that dislocated shoulder problem that kept him out for a large chunk at the start of the season. And as I say, if they win here, they'll stay top as we cross the halfway mark of a 21-game season. As things stand, the league table in the Singapore Premier League reads as follows. Albirex top, played 11 points, 27. Second, the Lion City Sailors played 11 points, 26. Third, Hougang played 11 points, 23. And fourth, Tampines Rovers played 12. They played an extra game against the Young Lions in anticipation of their Champions League absence with 21 points. Here's Ilhan. Not looked out of place, Ilhan nor, both against the Sailors 2 games ago and tonight. Ferdhouse. Darren Tay. He's just relentless, Albirex Niigata, in closing down. Ichikawa. Ferdhouse. Amy Recker with the run. He might be onside here if he can get goal side. Amy Recker's in here and on the area. Amy Recker through on goal. Can he finish? Amy Recker. Superb sliding challenge from Kunimoto to snuff out the threat, and it had to be made as well. That's the second opportunity that Geylang have had. Brave defending. I can tell you, it's another Japanese goal scorer at Jurong East. Nishiguchi has given Tanjung Pagar the lead against Balestier Khalsa. As it stands, they go up to 6th, but Geylang are having a good little spell here. Might come to Van Heusen. Van Heusen can hit them! And again, it's blocked bravely, this time by Yamashita. So we've had Kosuke Chiko scoring here. Ryo Nishiguchi scoring at Jurong East. Early goals, well, relatively early goals in both matches. Barry Maguire through the middle. Moresh has been quiet since he went down with that little calf issue. But Albirex, and again, have to keep qualifying this. They are the only unbeaten team in the division. As things stand, they'll be top as we pass the halfway mark. But anyone that's been a regular purveyor of the AIA Singapore Premier League in the last 3 seasons would have to agree they don't look the force of previous seasons. I mean, it's a miracle they continue to be so dominant, champions in 4 of the last 5 years, bearing in mind by the philosophy of the club, they have a heavy rotation of players. Of course, their leading scorer invariably at the end of every season goes and plays for another Singapore Premier League club, but they keep finding these players out of university and high school and loan deals, as was the case with Suboi from clubs in the top reaches of Japanese football, as Elijah Lim brings down Chiku here, and it's going to be the first yellow card of the contest, I fancy. Yes, referee Abirami Naidu issuing her first yellow of the match to Elijah Lim, who's now going to have to walk on eggshells. I think after such dominance in the Singapore Premier League of the foreign teams, the likes of Etoile, of course, in years gone by, and in most recent times, Brunei DPPM and Albirex Niigata, the stage is set with what's happening with the Lion City Sailors, and indeed Hougang improvement at Tampines, even with their limitations in terms of budget, still always seem to be a force. Surely this is the year, for the first time in 8 years, that we get a Singapore winner. But Albirex Niigata, no doubt, will have something to say about that. They need 1-0 here. But Geylang have come back into this game. No Singapore winner of the league since 2014, when the Warriors were triumphant. Of course, not currently in the AIA Singapore Premier League, the Warriors. Tampines produced a hat-trick of titles before the foreign domination began. Nice pick-up from Hashioka to Tezuka. Chiku. Koga again, just out of your camera shot, creeping up as a sweeper keeper. Inside, Hashioka missed by Nicky Melvin Singh. He'll pick up the pieces now, though, but was coming back from an offside position. Here's Barry Maguire. Ichikawa. Certainly the pace here, not as frenetic as the pace yesterday when Tampines played Hougang here. Of course, last weekend we had some blockbuster scorelines, a 5-1 and a 5-2. 13 goals scored across 2 games here last weekend. So far, 5 yesterday and just 1 today. Amy Recker. This might be worth a chase, you know. He's going to put Takawa under a bit of pressure. Takiwa does well. Oof, coming across there to force the mistake was Elijah Lim, but Albirex Niigata come up with the throw as we get to 6 minutes before the break. And, well, the reality is Albirex haven't put this game to bed yet. In the first 25 minutes, they threatened to really run away with it, but they got the goal. And Geylang have created a couple of openings or half openings since, but they can't afford to concede another one before half-time. Ong Yuen out to the right-hand side with Hashioka. Back to the young Singaporean who's got support with Tezuka. He goes back to Tezuka now, but the momentum of this latest break has just broken down somewhat. Here's Yamashita. He's spotted Takiwa over on this near side, who is hassled out of it by Ilhan Noor. Takiwa with a throw. Barry Maguire. It's only come as far as Chiku, though. The goal scorer, Chiku. Moresh had a little nibble at his legs there. He's putting that through for Nagasawa. And Barry Maguire had to be spot on with that challenge, and was. The Dutchman trying to get Geylang out of a hole, and unfortunately he's given it away to Nagasawa. They're in the area again. Taniguchi pulls it back. Ong Yuen! It's over the bar from the Singaporean youngster. And that's their best chance to this point to double the lead. And it's come and gone after Barry Maguire was worried out of it by Nagasawa in that near side corner of the field. Nagasawa does well, Taniguchi does better, and Ong Yuen unfortunately didn't live up to his side of the bargain and skied it over. For his far hand, Moresh is going to be offside here, fancy. Yeah, he looked across and he knew it. So, I think if you're Norali, might sound daft, but going in at the break 1-0 down, something of a moral victory here. And hear me out, because this game's still open. They don't look, Albirex, in the kind of mood, as long as Geylang keep up the tempo, to go on and put 4, 5, 6 past them here. And they will have a chance or two, as they've already showed in this first half. Amy Recker and Moresh and Van Heusen, both with half opportunities. Ilhan Noor, that's a heavy touch. Tries to recover, but only succeeds in getting it to Taniguchi. Taniguchi's got options in the middle. Taniguchi goes down, another challenge from Ilhan Noor, which is top draw. And what's more, he finds Amy Recker with the pass as well. They're having to battle hard here, Geylang, but they're hanging tough and just about staying in contention as Moresh is treble teamed. No foul, though, says referee Abirami. And Albirex come away with it. Oh, lovely lay off Nagasawa. Chiku again. He's already scored from that kind of range once. Back to Ong Yuen. Hashioka down the right-hand side will be the natural target here, you fancy. Ong Yuen. Hashioka. Van Heusen, who's having to help out Darren Tay at the back every time Hashioka comes forward. But that's another moral victory for Geylang. They've kept Hashioka relatively quiet. In fact, most of the action has come down this left-hand side, which is not the normal pattern of Albarex's play. It's down the right they usually cause most of their havoc, although the left's not too shabby either. And here's Exhibit A there, Takiwa. That ball straight to Amy. Kunimoto to Takehiro Koga. Yamashita on the charge now. Good spell of possession this from Albirex. Can they create a chance at the end of it? A goal just before half-time could be a dagger through the hearts of Geylang. You only have to see what that goal right on half-time from Hougang yesterday to level it up did to Tampines. It gave Hougang the impetus to come out at the start of the second half and essentially get 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of that second half that put the game to bed. No way back for Tampines there. There'll be no way back for Geylang here. If they concede a second before the break, you fancy. That's threaded through by Taniguchi looking for Nagasawa. But Wayne Chu gathers comfortably. Well, Tanjung Pagar leading against Balestier. Albirex Niigata leading against Geylang. And this will be, if the results stay like that, a change in the table that sees Tanjung Pagar go up to 6th, and they would go up to 6th, by the way, level on points with Balestier and with a game in hand on the Tigers. Meanwhile, Taniguchi just couldn't get a proper connection, and Wayne Chu picked it up. There are going to be 3 minutes of time added on for stoppages. We did have a couple of delays with Moresh and Fries Farhan injured. Here is Moresh being really pressured. Oh, he goes down there. That's got to be a free kick. And the referee will have a word here. Noor Ali and his coaching team not entirely happy. Referee's now going over Abirami to Moresh, telling him to cut it out. I think it's worth having a couple of words with the Albirex players that got stuck into him here as well. Although I'm not entirely impressed with Moresh holding the back of his head like there's been contact. Was there any contact in the back of Moresh's head here? Well, the Albirex players aren't doing anything wrong at that stage. Yeah. I'm afraid you don't like to see what Moresh just did there, and credit to referee Abirami for having a word with him first, because we don't want that in the game. Ichikawa. Back to Wayne Chu. That's more like it, going long. Looking for the head of Moresh, and they get the flick on. Headed back by Yamashita, though. He's only got 2 goals this season, Yamashita, but they were important ones, both from corners, though I'm still to this day convinced the first one was an own goal against the Lion City Sailors when they took that 2-0 lead early in the game before the Sailors came back, courtesy of a Stipe Plazibat goal on half-time, and then George Felipe's first goal in Singapore football after Plazibat had seen a penalty saved by Koga. And that's another interesting stat. I believe that's the only penalty missed so far in the league this season. So Koga's got the only penalty save as well. Confirmation it will be 3 minutes added on. Here is Faris Farhan, and Moresh is ahead of him. Just been sent wide, Moresh here, but Amy Van Heusen and Faris Farhan arriving. Moresh, what's the cross? Like it's a good one, just over the head of Van Heusen. He should pick up the pieces here, though. Can they do here what Hougang did yesterday and pinch an equaliser against the run of play just before half-time? Darren Tay, Ferdhouse. Needs an option here, Ferdhouse. He was trying to thread it through to Faris Farhan, and instead, just like that, Albirex go charging up the other end. Maguire stubs that out brilliantly. But all those Geylang players are coming back from offside positions. Well, I'm not sure Van Heusen was. Certainly Moresh and Faris Farhan were, but I'm not entirely sure Van Heusen. I wouldn't mind seeing the replay there. He was trying to hold his line. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, good decision. Assistant referee's got that spot on this near side. Again, I bow to no one in my admiration of how the assistant referees consistently, there are always going to be mistakes, of course, but consistently get those offside calls right. It's Jay Ashok Raj, the assistant referee on this near side. Over on the far side, there's also a good offside decision, wasn't there, from the other assistant referee, Kwang Yong, to deny a second goal for Albirex as Taniguchi finished it off. Here's Takiwa. Just the one goal by the looks of things from Albirex. They've dominated. They're 8 shots on goal to Geylang's 3. They've had a goal disallowed correctly for offside. And the goal they scored, let's face it, was really gift-wrapped to them by Geylang in a similar fashion to the goal they gift-wrapped the Lion City Sailors in that 2-1 defeat a couple of weeks back. Not as outrageous as the pass from Darren Tay, but nevertheless not making life easy for themselves. Faris Farhan trying to put Yamashita under pressure. That's over Elijah Lim. And look at the space now that Tezuka's going to try and exploit. And he's got support with Hashioka as well. And look at the run of Ong Yuen down the right as well. And they'll find Ong Yuen. And there are orange skirts streaming forward here. Now, can Ong Yuen get this in the area? If he can, Geylang could be in trouble. Just too much on that for Nicky Melvin Singh. And Wayne Chu gathers it up. And with that, they should just about get to half-time. They've got to half-time at Jurong East. Tanjung Pagar leading Balestier Kalsabar, goaltended at the break. And it's Ryo Nishiguchi with the goal in that one. Yeah, Scanning International, I think, will just about take being one down. It's Faris Farhan onside here. They want offside, they're not getting it. Faris, now where's Moresh? Here's Moresh. Will they be able to create an effort on goal right on half-time? They need to get it forward, not back. Next time this breaks up, the referee will blow for half-time, surely. We're already over the 3 minutes, and I think Geylang will have to get moving if they want to create a chance here before the half-time whistle. Darren Tay, Van Heusen needs to go forward. Van Heusen might come to Faris Farhan here. They'll get a chance. Now Ilhan Noor, this needs to go in the box, otherwise the referee's going to blow for half-time. And that's exactly what she does. They didn't take advantage. Albirex made it difficult for them. And Abirami Naidu, our official, blows for a first half that's seen Albirex Niigata go back to the top of the table as it stands, courtesy of Kosuke Chiku's first goal of the season in the 14th minute. It came not against the run of play, but most certainly with the run of play. Subsequently, though, Albirex have failed to go on and put this game to bed. At this stage, they did have a goal chalked off correctly for offside. Well, at the other end, Amy Recker with a half chance, Van Heusen lively on occasions, and Maresh darting through and hitting the side netting is the closest Geylang have come. Game still on here at OTH. Will Albirex Niigata be top tonight? And can Geylang get anything out of this to prevent Tanjung Pagar leapfrogging them in the table on this Sunday, the last day of action before the international break? Rejoin us for the first half highlights next. Welcome back to our Tampines hub. At the break, defending champions Albirex Niigata are heading back to the top of the AIA Singapore Premier League, courtesy of a 14th minute Kosuke Chiku goal that was really assisted to them by some sloppy defending, playing it out from the back from Geylang International, who have at least kept the score respectable and are still in this at half-time. Let's have a look back at the best of the action, or in Geylang's case here, the worst of the action. Wayne Chu to Barry Maguire. Now, it's all very well if you're a top team playing it out from the back like this, but that wasn't good distribution. Ferdhouse missed it out, and Chiku, well, he had time to take the shot there, decided not to. Got it laid back to him by Ong Yuen and picked his spot. It's the kind of strike you've seen struck in the pre-match warm-up without any pressure at all on him, Chiku's first goal of the season. But that was as good as it got, really, for Albirex Niigata. They did have a goal disallowed 15 minutes after this one, and I've had a suggestion sent to me that this was actually onside the goal that was disallowed. Let's have a look at the various angles. As you see, Nagasawa take the shot here, and Taniguchi, well, was he level with Barry Maguire when the initial shot came in? Did we get a look at another angle at that? And there was a better angle I think we had. System on that far side. Kwang Yong was on to it. Now have a look at this. When does he hit it. He's onside, I think, just. Well, it's fine margins. Very fine. No VAR in Singapore, of course, thank goodness. Nagasawa doesn't look conclusive from that angle, but in the glimpse we saw on the other angle, did look he might have been just onside. There wasn't much in the way of complaint. Not much point complaining when there's no VAR anyway. Now, this was the chance for Maresh, who got goal side of Kunimoto and fizzed a shot into the side netting. Koga, I think, had it covered. But there's an example that Geylang, despite their injury problems and their makeshift formation, they do have quality on the pitch. The likes of Maresh, the likes of Amy, the likes of Van Heusen, they can pop up and give them an effort on goal. They've managed 3 strikes, 1 for Amy, 1 for Van Heusen, and 1 for Maresh. This is Amy here. That wasn't going to be far away. Look at that sliding challenge by Kunimoto there. They've been very committed and they will be running the full 90 minutes here. That's for certain, Albirex Niigata. It's not really a cliche now. It's just a fact. They are the fittest team in the league. Now, Barry Maguire plays himself into bother here. Nagasawa picks his pocket, gets it to Taniguchi. On UN, this would have been the ball game as it was just before half-time, but the Singaporean blasted over. Barry Maguire, a rare mistake from the reliable Dutchman. Getting news of a substitution, incidentally, which I'll tell you about after we've checked out the half-time stats. 3 shots for Geylang, none of them on target. 7 for Albirex, 3 of them on the mark, and just the 1 yellow card that was shown to Elijah Lim. Now, I'm being told there's actually going to be a change in goal for Geylang. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Tanjung United, Ryo Nishiguchi's on the score sheet for them. They're leading Balestier Khalsa by a goal to 0, which means as it stands, they'll be leapfrogging Geylang in the table. When we come back the second half, and let me tell you now about these changes that are on the way, because we are going to see Wayne Chu replaced by Hyrule, and also we're going to see Faisal Roslan replacing Faris Farhan. The second half coming up next. Stay with us.
AIA Vitality, Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Welcome back live to our Tampines hub. The trees on the roof of this very unique sporting complex, fluttering in the light breeze, the fitness aficionados jogging around this state-of-the-art running track that's above our Tampines hub. If you ever visit Singapore, please God, you'll be able to visit sometime the way things are going. Make sure you take in this very unique arena here. It's instantly recognisable. It's our Tampines hub, a sports, entertainment and leisure hub. It's got everything, a cinema, various sporting facilities, and of course the focal point is this marvellous stadium. There are Geylang's players coming back out for the start of the second half. 2 changes. Now, if you're watching from outside of Singapore and a bit puzzled about why the goalkeeper's being changed here, it's one of the vagaries of the AIA Singapore Premier League. All teams, all Singaporean teams, must start with 3 under-23 players, and that sometimes means, obviously in the case of Wayne Chu, they start with an inexperienced goalkeeper, even though they have the experienced first choice Hyrule Sheeran on the bench. So Hyrule is going to come on. They have to play the first half of the game, those 3 under-23 players, so he is going to be replacing Wayne Chu. And Faisal Roslan coming on to give some more steer at the back. He's replacing Faris Farhan, which on the face of it's a defensively minded change, but that change is going to allow Barry Maguire, I assume, to push up into midfield, which should hopefully get some more service to Maresh from a Geylang international point of view. So to a certain extent, Norani, I suppose, after the first 20 minutes, you've been offered him a 1-0 deficit going into the second half. Now he's been able to make those changes. He may well have taken it. He's now, of course, only got 1 substitution up his sleeve. There were some players out there looking tired already, and those boys in orange, the defending champions, will not be found wanting for fitness. So if Geylang are going to get something going here, it has to start for them, you feared, in the early part of this second half. Confirmation that Hyrule replaces Wayne Chu between the sticks for Geylang. And obviously Faisal comes on for third out with Barry Maguire, one assumes now being able to push forward into his preferred midfield role. There is Faisal Roslan, brings some more steel and height into that back line. He is, of course, also one of only, well, there was 4 players. Now with Convalius retiring, there's only 3 players on the park for Geylang that have scored this season. Faisal Roslan, Amy Recker with 4, and of course Maresh with 7. So that's the situation in the state of play. Now, bearing in mind there's no Kondo and no Suboi, unusually for Albirex Niigata, very unusually. You can count on 2 fingers, I think, the number of times they've not made a half-time change this season. They've not made a half-time change here. Because, again, they have to start, like the Singaporean clubs have to start with 3 under-23 players. Albirex have to play a half with 2 Singaporeans. And last season, it almost became the norm for both Singaporeans to be hooked after 45 minutes. It's to the eternal credit of Nicky Melvin Singh and Ong Yuen that they're actually looking part of the furniture at Albirex, and the temptation is not there for Keiji Shigetomi to make the changes. So there is Noor Ali. Abbas Saad, the new assistant coach, watching from the stands. What have they cooked up at half-time to turn this around? It's Albirex, the champions, and as it stands, league leaders in the orange, left to right. Geylang in the green and white, right to left. There's an early defensive header from Darren Tay. Kosuke Chiku's first of the season, the 14th minute goal that decides this game at the moment. A reminder, they're underway at Jurong East, where Tanjung Bagali, Balestier, Kalsabar goaltended. If these results say the same, Geylang are going to drop down to 7th. Here's Ferdhouse. That's better. Maresh could be onside here. Maresh is onside, and this should be 1-1, and it is 1-1! It's taken them just over 30 seconds, and Albirex Niigata have been stunned at OTH. Maresh with his 8th of the season, the flag stayed down, and the Brazilian made no mistake at all. And just when you write the Eagles off, they spring a massive surprise. The Brazilians always capable of this moment of magic. We'll get, hopefully, a better angle on the offside call, but again, there weren't too many protestations. And once Maresh is through on goal like that, one-on-one, there is only one outcome. Wonderful finish, smashing it past Koga, who won't get a 5th clean sheet of the season. And our Geylang going to rise from the ashes with 45 minutes to go before a month's break. Can the Eagles pull off the unthinkable and hand Albirex Niigata their first defeat of the season? Extraordinary start to the second half here at OTH. How about that finish from Maresh? And the ball through wasn't too shabby either. And they're in business all of a sudden with Elijah Lim. Now Barry Maguire in the middle of the park, now not burdened with the defensive responsibilities exclusively. It's given Geylang an extra dimension. Now Hyrule as well with the experienced keeper, and you'd hope maybe some sharper distribution. What a start to the second stanza here. Well, we had some start to the second half yesterday, didn't we, with Hougang and Suboy and Adraki scoring 2 quick goals at the start of the second stanza. And here, Geylang have shocked Albirex to the core. And it's a goal that the Lion City Sailors will love, because as it stands, they're staying top before the month's break. Psychologically, how important could that be? Bearing in mind, when they come back from the break, the Lion City Sailors will have the national captain Harris Furen and the Asian Champions League winning coach in Kim Do-hoon. And I must also give some credit to Ferdhouse Kasman for that ball through there. Obviously, Maresh is going to get the headlines, but he latched onto that ball from Ferdhouse brilliantly. And again, more evidence that Albirex aren't the bomb-proof unit that we've seen in recent years, despite their tag of still being unbeaten now. Before we get carried away, what can they do in their first attacking foray in the second half? Well, they can win a corner. And incredibly, that's the first corner of the whole game after 48 minutes. Now, what can they make of this set piece? Remember, they scored 2 goals from a corner against the Sailors earlier this season. They've played that short and shockingly. And Van Heusen can pick this up with space. Amy's ahead of him. And that's a hopeful ball through for Amy, because Hashioka can gobble that up. Well, let's not kid ourselves. It wasn't the best game of football we've been watching all season through 45 minutes. Albirex got the goal, then looked a little bit nonplussed about trying to put the game to bed, but business picked up at the start of the second half. I wonder what Keiji Shigetomi will do in terms of his options from the bench here. Edge of the area, twisting, turning. Taniguchi gets it back to Chiku, their goal scorer. Ong Yuen, there's a springing Geylang step here, and Faisal Roslan, there's no whistle, the play on here. Geylang stopped as if there was going to be a whistle there against them, I think, and there will be a whistle against them now. What an extraordinary start. I think I timed that at 33.5 seconds, that goal at the start of the second half. And just as they did against the Lion City Sailors, another team who they took on when they were under strength. They levelled that one up in the first half, but went down midway through the second. crucially, can they get the second goal in this game? Where Maresh has scored this season, with the exception of that game for the Lion City Sailors when he only got one, he's got a pair. You get the feeling you'll need to get two if they're going to win this game. It's a decent cross. Oh, look at the space. Good save, Hyrule. But look at the space that Yamashita had there, and they know that he's a set-piece threat. Just ask the Lion City Sailors about him. And they were fortunate, really, that he didn't place the header as well as he might have with the time and space he had. Hyrule doing enough. That's either side of the keeper. You fancy it's 2-1. Chiku to deliver. They've got to do a better job of picking up Yamashita this time. Chiku. That's not the best corner Albirex have already come up with today. They maintain possession though. Here's Tokiwa. Oh, space for Taniguchi now. Drifts it in, looking for Yamashita again. Ichikawa just there. But Albirex just starting to turn the screw, having been rocked by that equaliser scored by Maresh. And if you were late making your tea or popping out to get a copio at half-time, and you missed the first 30 seconds of the second half, you missed a cracking score by Maresh to get his 8th of the season. It's 1-1. And as it stands, the Sailors are now top of the table. Chiku. Ong Yuen's got time and space here. There's already plenty of evidence here that Geylang are a better proposition now after those changes. Amy takes the tumble. Ong Yuen having to go back here. Just looking down for any movement amongst the Albirex Niigata substitutes. Can't see any just yet. Chiku has taken a deflection, I think, of his own man here, and it has. It's going to be a throw in to Geylang. So warm welcome wherever you're watching around the world. The AIA Singapore Premier League, our various international broadcast partners live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports through Singapore. Remember to stay home, stay safe and stop the spread. We're hoping to welcome you back to the stadiums as soon as we can after the upcoming international and AFC breaks. But for now, we'll make sure you've got the best seat in the house watching at home, and in what's going to be an absorbing final 38 minutes and change here. Still Tanjung Pagar 1, Balestier Khalsa 0. Ryo Nichiguchi's goal has got Tanjung Pagar just over 40 minutes away from their second win of the season. And I think it'll be their first home win for the best part of 3,800 days. They did get a win earlier this season away from home at the Young Lions. Nothing like a home win, and wouldn't Geylang like to have that feeling? They've only had one home win all season. That was in the opening day against Tanjung Pagar, ironically. Ong Yuen's in lots of space on this far side if they want to find him, but Geylang are up for this now. They're a little bit sharper, and Albirex have got to find a plan B, because they haven't put in the kind of performance that suggests a glut of goals was going to come. And if you're wondering where Suboy is, the bad news for Albirex Niigata fans is he's picked up a PCL and MCL issue. He's going to be out for at least a month, maybe more. Kondo missing as well as Ong Yuen handles the ball. And if you believe in footballing omens, just to give you something else that might suggest that the football gods are smiling on Geylang today, Albirex Niigata in Japan, who've been absent from J1 for a good few seasons now, have been playing in the second tier of Japanese football. They were top of the table in J2, and only 2 go up this season, by the way, in J2. They had been top, but they also lost today to the team that now overtook them for top spot. They lost 1-0 at home, Albirex, to Kyoto Sanga in J2, so it's not been a good day for Albirex Niigata across Asia. The White Swan fans will be looking for some crumbs of comfort to see their Singapore brethren staying at top of the AIA Singapore Premier League. As it stands, though, it will be the Sailors. Here's Darren Tay. Amy. Maresh just behind him. Van Heusen couldn't get there. Oh, that was well picked up by Ferdhouse. Good anticipation there. Unfortunately, it didn't drop to a green shirt. Oh, he's been caught out there, Ichikawa, and that's a very late whistle against Taniguchi, and he doesn't like that one bit, Ryo Taniguchi, and I have some sympathy for him. Yuki Ichikawa 33 years of age, making his 201st SPL appearance today. That's a stunning record. And in terms of foreign imports, no player's been at the same club longer. Coming up to 8 years, a Geylang player, a decade in Singapore. Barry Maguire looking for Amy over Hashioka, who's having to do a bit of defending for a change. Used to seeing him bombing forward up from the flanks. So Taniguchi trying to improvise with his chest. Only found Barry Maguire. Here's Faisal Roslan. Oh, he didn't quite get hold of that correctly in the header from Takiwa. We'll go back to Koga, who had absolutely no chance with that Maresh strike. And as I say, with one exception this season, when he scored one, Maresh, he's got another, and he's got plenty of time to complete his brace here. Spraying this wide, looking for Hashioka, who Darren Tay is going to have to keep a very close eye on here. This is where Hashioka's done damage all season long and last season too. Hashioka, he's got support, but again, can't find it. And Geylang, to their credit, under strength, are keeping a lid on this Albirex machine at the moment. It'll count for nothing though, should they concede again. Ong Yuen, oh, he's miscontrolled that. It's come through to Darren Tay, who's intelligently got Amy moving quickly. Oh, that's a suicide pass from Amy Reka, giving possession straight to Chiku. This is danger. Nagasawa, the little maestro, the Albirex number 10. He'll be looking for Hashioka. He might have to go to Ong Yuen first. Ong Yuen with the cross-come shot. And I don't know what he was trying to do there. Maybe he thought he saw Highwood off his line, but it's over the bar. Now, the change is coming, and it will be one of the Singaporean sacrifice. Nicky Melvin Singh, who hasn't been involved too much in the second half, is about to be replaced by Fumiya Suzuki, who's a goal scorer this season. He got a goal, ultimately the winning goal in that 2-1 win against the Young Lions last week. So that will be a warning for them that this is a man that knows how to score off the bench. Nicky Melvin Singh continues to be a solid contributor to the Albirex cause. Suzuki, another attacking threat for Geylang to worry about. They continue to persevere with playing it out from the back. It's nervous times if you're a Geylang fan. I think maybe a bit more settled doing that now that Hyrul's been replaced, or Hyrule has replaced Wayne Chu, I should say, and maybe Faisal Roslan as well, giving them a bit more steel. Interesting to note that Barry Maguire does still appear to be playing at the back. It's Faisal Roslan who's got into that advanced role, maybe somewhat surprisingly. Here's Van Heusen. Yeah, Third House couldn't control that. Well, we've had an equaliser at the start of the second half here. We've had an equaliser at the start of the second half at Jurong East as well. Balestier Khalsa are back on level terms. Balestier Khalsa levelling it up at Jurong East. Information on goal scorer to follow. Remember, that game is live as well. Into the area. And behind for another corner ball. The corner count, having seen none in the first half, we've now had 4 already at the start of the second. Albirex unbeaten this season, but they drew at home against Balestier Khalsa, drew away against the Lion City Sailors. And of course drew here against Tampines 2 weeks ago when they led 2-0. They led 1-0 here and have been pegged back. What can they do with corner number 4? Yamashita always a threat. Amy with a header, and they need to push out quickly here, Geylang. This is going to be a test of their fitness and fortitude, you fancy, because Albirex won't stop running. Hashioka, who's been uncharacteristically quiet, and that has gone out of play, so Geylang will get the throw. So 1-1 across both tonight's matches. Zuzu on the hour mark has come up with the goal. So Zuzu, with his 5th of the campaign, levelling it up from Ryo Nishiguchi's first half effort. Chiku, Tokiwa, just having to absorb more pressure here, Geylang. But like the first half, Albirex are dominating, seeing far more of the ball than Geylang, but not doing an awful lot with it, in truth. Some of the short-range passing looks good, but in the final third, it's abundantly clear they're missing Suboi and Kondo. They haven't got that goal poacher. Maybe Suzuki can fill that role now, as that's a challenge that's going to incur the wrath of the referee. She just wants to chat with Ilhan Noor, who picked up a yellow card against the Sailors in his previous start this season. Good officiating from Albirex Niigata just giving him a chat. I think the next time he's caught out and transgresses, he will go in the book. So they've got to set themselves here, Geylang, to defend this set piece. Yamashita sticking out like a sore thumb, trying to loiter in at the back post. Yuki Ichikawa is on him. They can't give him the same space they gave him from the last free kick from this kind of distance when he had a free header and just pushed it too directly to Hyrule. Oh, that's a great training ground routine. Across the 6-yard box, Darren Tay gets it clear. Well, it worked like a charm in the initial stages for Albirex, but it's been the story of their afternoon and evening so far. That in the middle third, they're looking completely superior and dominant. In the final third, they're just a little bit, not shot shy, but not as ruthless as they are, which is always going to be the case when you take Suboy and Kondo out this squad. Going into tonight, they scored 15 of the 25 goals that the league leaders had notched, and it's a big miss. It'll be interesting to see in terms of the competition with the Sailors making that Harris Harun signing and the new coach, the ACL winner, AFC Champions League winner, Kim Do-hoon coming in. If he takes over when they're top of the table, the Lion City Sailors, even if it's only psychological, I think it could be huge. But Albirex still determined to try and get back to that top slot. Here's Taniguchi, edge of the area. Hashioka wants it on the far side. He might get it from the far side now. Hashioka still wants this. They'll take the shot off Ichikawa, and Hashioka will have to make do with a throw. Hashioka looking for movement. Nice back flick to Ong Yuen. Ong Yuen straight at Darren Tay and then brings down Van Hughes, and that'll be a free kick. Good decision from the official. Well, looking at the bench with Kondo and Suboy absent, who else do they go for? Obviously Yasuhiro Hanada, you'd expect to see maybe. They've got a Singaporean striker on the bench in Faris Hassan. Also Mahiro Takahashi, so with 2 changes set up Shigetomi's sleeve, I would imagine if they haven't got this go-ahead goal by the 70-minute mark, we might see another change from Albirex. Maresh is going to be penalised for that as he backed into Yamashita. Big old boy, that centre-back for Albirex, Yamashita. Some space now for Nagasawa. Still finding his full fitness after that lengthy spell out with the shoulder injury. Ong Yuen in some space on the near side. If Yamashita decides to use him, instead he goes to Hashioka. Didn't give Hashioka much chance of controlling that with the pace it was played on. And great second phase from Faisal Roslan to win that back. Now Van Heusen. Darren Tay. Better this from Geylang. Ferdhouse needs to release it, get it out wide with their space, where Ilhan Noor. Maguire. Nigel Lim always played Maguire into a bit of bother there. Dutchman has work to do, and he'll have to go back to Hyrule, who won't be able to mess around with this clearance. And he was indeed closed down, but at least they get the throw. Well, never mind 70 minutes. He's only waited a couple more minutes. And Ong Yuen, it's the other Singaporean that's going to be sacrificed now. And it will be another man that's got a goal for them this season, Makato Ito. So Ito replacing Ong Yuen, which means it's now an all-Japanese 11 on the park for Albirex Niigata. And that, of course, means there's now more Japanese players than Singaporeans. I suppose with Maresh and Barry Maguire, that was the case already. But now there's 11 Japanese for Albirex and 1 for the Eagles in Ichikawa. So Ong Yuen's night is done. Ito will be looking to add to his tally of 1 goal this season, which came on match day 2 in the 3-0 win against the Young Lions. Here's a free kick in a very dangerous piece of real estate. Faisal Roslan conceding for the foul on Taniguchi, and Hyrule wants to be setting his wall here, because this is a very attractive distance to blast for both the left and right footer. They're literally queuing up for this. Tezuka having a look at it. I don't think Kudamoto will be the man to strike it, as Hyrule weighs up his options. Can hear downstairs with no fans, of course, due to COVID-19. Noor Ali instructing his wall. Taniguchi, when the free kick is over it. Chiku's now walked away, and Takahiro Tezuka looks to be the man Tezuka, who's already scored twice this season, but not since match day 4. Goals on the opening day against Taogang, and it was Tezuka that got the only goal of the game when these two teams met at Jurong East earlier in the season in that 1-0 win for the Swans. Kunimoto is surely a spoiler here, or is he? Tezuka or Kunimoto? The defenders are taking over here. Tezuka! Oh, it's an absolute scorcher! Well, Geylang always ran the risk of giving away set pieces in that kind of territory that Albirex would take advantage, and Takahiro Tezuka has scored his 3rd of the season, and it's a world-class free kick. Navigated the wall, and Hyro was never getting there. And as it stands, they're back to the top of the shop. Well, that angle doesn't really do it justice. Tezuka with that right foot, pinpoint precision, took the wall out of play. And despite diving the right way, Hyro was never getting there. Geylang 1, Albirex Niigata 2. Now, having come from behind once, can they do so again? It's a big ask for Geylang International. Yamashita. Koga, who's not really had a save to make in this game. Obviously, Maresh's goal he couldn't get hold of, but other than that, there's been no shots on target for him to deal with. It's Chiku. Oh, lovely ball through for Suzuki. Maguire tracking back and uses his experience to shoot it out for a goal kick. Real exquisite free kick that from Tezuka. We've seen Chardin score a couple of stunning free kicks for the Lion City Sailors this season. Of course, one yesterday, the only goal of the game in that win. Oh, that's come back to Tezuka again. Does he fancy another, this time from open play? Not with a touch like that. Faisal Roslan, oh, they've won it back brilliantly. Now Chiku, oh, and he's hacked down Nagasawa there. Got away with it, really. I thought Nagasawa was impeded. Referee says no, and she's the ultimate arbiter. Yamashita inside. Albirex are turning the screw, but they'll know now they want that buffer goal to give them some daylight. Ito falling flat on his backside, but they'll win the throw. In the area, Ichikawa with his hands over Taniguchi, has to be careful. Maresh, who's not really had a touch of the ball since he scored the goal. They need the mighty Brazilian now. Can mighty Maresh get Geylang International out of this latest pickle? Or are the Eagles heading for defeat number 8 of the season? I mentioned that situation with the league table. As it stands, of course, Tanjung Pagar getting a point against Balestier. That won't be enough. They'll need to win to leapfrog Geylang in the table. Tezuka. Oh, Taniguchi threading it through for Ito. Narrow angle. Ito, can he keep it in? No, he can't. And it's behind for a goal kick. So the last 22 minutes for a month. I'm going to miss the AIA Singapore Premier League in June. We'll all be cheering on the national team as they go to Dubai for their training camp and then take on Palestine, Uzbekistan and Saudi Arabia in those World Cup qualifiers. And of course, we hope to be able to see Geylang and the Lion City Sailors represent Singapore with distinction in the AFC Cup groups, which is scheduled to be played here. Still awaiting final confirmation on that in terms of the dates and times and venues. And then not forgetting the Tampines Rovers task in the AFC Champions League, where they take on the mighty Jeonbuk Motors, Gamba Osaka, who are in the relegation zone in Japan, by the way, this season, Gamba, and Sydney of Australia. Here's Hashioka. They get another goal here, Albirex. This game is done. Hashioka, is he onside? Lovely touch, Hashioka! Good save, Hyrule. Wonderful touch from Hashioka to create the space. All he's missing this season is a goal, as we get the hydration break and a last chance to Norali to get the troops in a huddle and try and find a way past this Albirex defence for the second time in the game. Look at this touch from Hashioka to open up the space Thought for a minute there was a suggestion of offside. Got the shot away, and Hyrule did the right thing. But when they come back from this, they'll have to defend a corner. And they've already been caught out from one set piece in this second half. If you're just joining us, Maresh with a stunning goal, 30 seconds into the second half, levelling it up. And then Albirex putting the foot down, making a couple of changes that have had, in fairness, a positive impact. And the go-ahead goal scored by Takehiro Tezuka 5 minutes ago. So 20 minutes for Geylang to sign off from the international break with something special, of course. No Geylang players or Tanjung Pagar United players in Tatsumi Yoshida's squad. So this will be the last competitive action for these boys for some time. Still one more change available to Nur Ali. I know there were some concerns about Elijah Lim lasting the 90 minutes. I wonder whether he might be a man to make way. They have got Ikram Rifki on the bench, experienced midfield maestro. They've got to defend this corner first. All the corners come in the second half. There's been 5 of them, and they've all gone to Albirex Niigata. Still 1-1 by the way at Jurong East. Tanjung Pagar 1, Balestier Khalsa 1. Looks like a tale of two halves there, because I'm told Tanjung Pagar dominated the first half. Balestier Khalsa in the process of dominating the second. That game's also live on Singtel Star Hub, AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports. Chiku, who got the first goal to take the corner. Simply can't afford to concede again, Geylang. As Maresh stabs it away, only as far as the edge of the area. And Maresh again walking away very gingerly from that improvised clearance. He's not looked right, really, since he scored the goal. Maresh, he's hobbling around, struggling somewhat. Oh, Hyrule's going to miss this, and at a narrow angle. They very nearly got the third goal that would have been the death knell for Geylang's chances. It was Suzuki on the far post, just couldn't turn it back after Hyrule misjudged this in flight. Wasn't far away, he got there before Barry Maguire as well. Now Maresh is down once more. And this is a terrible sight while we look at that effort again after Taniguchi's cross. I can tell you Maresh is receiving more treatment here. Well, is he going to be okay to continue? No, he's going to have to come off here. Well, this is a body blow. The one difference maker, standout difference maker Geylang have got. Is he signalling there he needs to come off? It looks like it, doesn't it? And the body language is all wrong there from Maresh. Well, they've lost Silvano Convalles to retirement this weekend, and he's flown back to Amsterdam, and now their other marquee signing in the close season is shaking that head. And they've got no other strikers to throw on. It will be Ikram Rifki by default. We've seen Ichikawa been employed as a go-for-broke striker. They could throw Barry Maguire as well, but I would suggest if that happens, they really do run the risk of Albirex getting another. The only good news that Geylang have had is the fact that Balestier Khalsa have equalised, but at least they'll stay above Tanjung Pagar as things stand. It will be Ikram Rifki coming on from Maresh, I'm told. So Ikram Rifki will come on. At least they won't have to play with 10, and I suppose Maresh will at least have a month now to recover. But they want him fit for the AFC Cup, because if they thought the pace was hot in the AIA Singapore Premier League this season, Geylang have got Kaya of the Philippines and Terengganu. That's going to be some clash, Singapore against Malaysia in the AFC Cup. And one other team to be determined by our playoff. They haven't quite got to the bottom of what's going to happen with the AFC Cup. It should be said in terms of the Champions League, the AFC Champions League West Zone groups have all been played out already in centralised venues. So we know who's qualified for the knockout stages from the West. Obviously, Tampines waiting to take part in the East in Uzbekistan. And in the AFC Cup, the West Zone group games are in progress now, with the East expected to follow suit at the end of next month. Quite how that's going to play out with the ongoing COVID-19 dilemmas, we'll have to wait and see. But once again, I think we should be grateful for small mercies. The FAS and AIA Singapore Premier League authorities have done a good job to get us to this point, particularly with the increased and heightened awareness of COVID-19 in the last fortnight, we have at least got to the scheduled halfway mark of the season and what was already going to be designated an international and AFC break anyway. Loose ball, Chiku picks it up. Amy and Van Heusen have got to try and make something happen now in the absence of Maresh. 15 minutes to play, just doesn't seem to be the belief at this point, and it's no knock on Geylang and their form. They're a very hard team to wear down, Albirex, but they've only got to look to this stadium 2 weeks ago. Tampines equalised with practically the last kick of the game when Mamedovich was brought down and Boris Kapitovic converted the penalty. But now Maresh has gone. You do fear where that spark's going to come, because he was the spark at the start of the second half that got them back on level terms. Ilhan Noor had a good game, Ilhan. Not looked out of place. Son of the coach. Flicked on. Amy goes down. They'll get a free kick here. Quite a cheap one to win as well. Any contributions gratefully received there. Now, surely in this situation, you've got to throw the big men forward and just try and throw this into the area. I know it's a bit old school and very basic for footballing connoisseurs, but in this kind of match situation, you've just got to get the ball in the penalty area and try and make something happen. They will try and do that. Now, Chris Van Heusen scored from this kind of range in the last couple of seasons. I remember a goal against Hougang at the Hougang Stadium. Surely he's not going to get the better of Koga from here, but he can lob this onto the penalty area, and I hope that Maguire or Ichikawa can get on the end of it. Or one of the other 8 green shirts in the area. Decent delivery, but no green shirt near it. The delivery was fine. Elijah Lim, and that's a suicidal pass, and Albirex will swarm forward now, and those tired Geylang legs better get back quickly. They're not going to get back quickly enough to stop Suzuki, I don't think. Suzuki to wrap this up! Oh, he's put it past the post. Well, with a goal at his mercy, Suzuki just maybe a tad too casual with the finish. And with Hyrule throwing out with a sparing left hand, Suzuki couldn't get the shot away on target. Elijah Lim with that poor pass as he starts to tire, and of course they've used all substitutes now. Geylang will have to last out the 90 minutes. Darren Tay scrambling back. Suzuki had time to pause, stop, set, and couldn't find the target. Well, that set piece, there was nothing wrong with the delivery from Van Heusen, just no one attacking it really. You can't accuse the Geylang players over recent weeks of not trying for their manager. That's one thing you can't accuse them of. There is an indelible team spirit, like there is in so many SPL clubs, but at the end of the day, spirit can only get you so far. The quality, the balance of a team is what makes that X factor that gets you results in a league like this. Well, only 8 teams, but very competitive. Nagasawa, well, he goes down into delayed reaction. They were fortunate not to concede a free kick there, and I think the referee's entirely right to bring that back. Ichikawa doesn't like it, but I think that's good officiating. But Abirami Naidu, she allowed the advantage to come, and when it clearly wasn't coming, she's gone back for the free kick. Now, the Albirex players want it in a slightly more advanced position. That's a clear foul. And Abirami gave them a couple of seconds to get the advantage, and when it wasn't forthcoming, well, even Ichikawa was having a nibble at the shirt there, but that was just Ikram Rifki bundling into the player from behind. So, approximately 12 minutes after Tezuka scored from this exact position, is it going to be repeat, or are they going to mix it up a bit? Give someone else a chance. But you can't let anyone else but Tezuka take this, can you? Kunimoto's over it once more. Well, surely Tezuka is going to have another go here. Hashioka has left them to it and gone back to cover any quick counter. Still need this goal, this third goal, just to put the game firmly to bed. Edge their goal difference a bit more closer to the Lion City Sailors, who they'll still overtake tonight with the 3 points here. Tezuka, or will he fool us all and give it to Kunimoto? Same spot. Not the same result. Not as handsome as the previous effort. As we rapidly approach the final 10 minutes here. Still 1-1. Jurong East, Tanjung Pagar 1, Balestier Khalsa 1. So what that means as it stands in terms of the league table, it will be as you were in the bottom 4. And the only change will be Albirex Niigata leapfrogging the Lion City Sailors into first. They'll lead by a point, with the Sailors will have a better goal difference as it stands by 3. 15 shots to 4. Albirex do want to try and keep a grip on that goal difference as well, because the league's so tight. The goal difference, which is the primary tiebreaker, can still play a part. The goal difference is at the moment in the division. The Lion City Sailors plus 21, Albirex plus 18, Geylang plus 12, Tampines plus 3. And at the other end of the spectrum, the poor old Young Lions minus 24. Geylang, for the record, and minus 16. And what has been a very goal-heavy AIA Singapore Premier League this season. Jalan Besar and OTH, our Tampines hub, seem to be magnets for goal-fest games. Whether that's something to do with the surface, I don't know. But you don't seem to go 90 minutes at our Tampines hub without seeing plenty of goal-mouth action. Glorious sky overhead at our Tampines hub. For those of you watching outside of Singapore, maybe in less warmer climes in these tough times, I'm going to give you a view of the magnificent skyline here on the east coast of Singapore. We'll try and get one of our top camera personnel to bring that to you in a minute. Just wait for a break in play. Glorious scene with the palm trees on the roof of our Tampines hub, and a nice reddy hue in the night sky here as night draws in, as we come up to 7:15 in the evening local time. Tanjung Pagar retake the lead, and that's bad news for Geylang International. Tanjung Pagar 2, Balestier Khalsa 1. Look at that lovely bluey red hue. Purple haze over Singapore of these tough times. Glorious scenes here at our Tampines hub. Well, what a goal that is for Tanjung Pagar. They're now just 5 minutes away from only their second win of the season. Their first at home for nearly 3,800 days, and it would leapfrog them above Geylang in the table. So Geylang, after all, might have the ultimate insult of dropping to 7th in the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight. Confirmation of Tanjung Pagar's second goal to come. Here, it's also a 2-1 scoreline. And it's also the team that scored first that have got it back. Barry Maguire loses out. Chiku, look at the time and space Chiku's got. He's already got one Chiku. Selflessly sprays it out to the left-hand side. Keep it on Nagasawa. Oh, Taniguchi's effort spinning high up into the air. Free kick. Going to go to Geylang. They'll have to bring the ball back here. Well, Hyrule has just got to get moving here. Kyril Amri with a penalty with 6 minutes to go has given Tanjung Pagar the go-ahead goal, but not for long. Balestier Khalsa a back level. Tanjung Pagar United 2, Balestier Khalsa 2. High drama at the end of Jurong East. Don't forget that game is live as well. Still alive here, we should say, because they only trail by 1 Geylang. There's no Maresh. Can they get Amy or Van Heusen, who's been largely anonymous in this second half, involved? It's become very scrappy. It's not been the greatest game. Nowhere near as high octane as what we saw yesterday. Zuzu, 2 minutes after Kyril Amri had given Tanjung Pagar the lead once more. Zuzu, with his second of the game, has levelled it up. Barry Maguire just feeling his chin there. Ichikawa, he's got to get the ball up the other end somehow. And maybe start thinking about throwing Maguire at Ichikawa forward. You may as well lose 3-1 and 2-1. Goal difference less important at the bottom of the table with no relegation in this league, of course, than it is at the top. So I can understand teams at the top battling it out for goal difference. At the bottom, when you're chasing a point that could be so crucial to avoid the wooden spoon even maybe at the end of the season. And that being said, obviously the Young Lions have yet to win a game. Now down on the deck is Chris Van Heusen. Bit of cramp, nothing more. 5 minutes to play. I'm just trying to see where this equalising goal could come from in terms of Geylang International. And now Maresh isn't on the field of play. You just really struggle to find a solution, don't you? The only players on the pitch now that have scored this season for Geylang are Faisal, who's got 1, and Amy, who's got 4. Faisal Roslan's goal came courtesy of his head in that 4-2 win against the Young Lions, the first goal in that game. Amy has scored some decent strikes. Obviously, Maresh, 8 goals of the season with his one tonight, is now gone. Convalius on his way back to Holland, having retired and signed off as a footballer with a great goal in the 5-2 defeat here against Hougang last week. Albirex, well, they've not really threatened to get this third goal to put the game to bed. They're in complete cruise control, though. Can they finally get it? Hashioka. Oh, nice work. Haven't seen much from Hashioka today. One of his quieter afternoons. Credit to Darren Tate for that. Hashioka. Oof, sliding challenge. Fine margins. Faisal Roslan had to be careful. Tezuka. 1-2. Taniguchi. At the edge of the area. Taniguchi! Straight at Hyral, who saves. Oof, that was a late challenge right under the nose of the referee as well. Faisal Roslan is asking for some action to be taken against Ito here, and I think he will be getting a yellow card, which will be Alberex's first. Of the afternoon. He can lay down there and play possum all he likes when he gets up. The referee, who's had a very good game, Abhirami Naidu, will be showing Makoto Ito a yellow card. Wonderful when you see players prolong their stay on the ground in the hope that the referee will forget to book them. No fooling referee Abhirami Naidu in that situation. And I think it was warranted. It was late. Marginal but late, and at this stage in proceedings those challenges are going to pick up yellows. Gives Geylang another chance to launch it forward. Where can they find this bit of magic minus Maresh to steal a point? It would become only the 4th team this season to get a point off Geylang, off Albirex I should say. Sailors, Padastia and Tampines have managed to hold them to a draw this season. Now Ichikawa with a bit of cramp. They're dropping like flies now as we go into the death throes of this contest. Final minutes, one more reminder, don't forget to follow the national team on the Football Association of Singapore social media channels as they head to Dubai for their training camp. We wish Tatsumi Yoshida and his squad all the best. Then they head to Saudi Arabia for games against Palestine, Uzbekistan and Saudi. And of course we've got the AFC Cup in the agenda, and all that means there'll be quite a long break before we return with the AIA Singapore Premier League in July. I hope you'll miss us while we're gone. We'll look forward to coming back and hopefully sooner rather than later getting you back in the stadiums where we all want you to be. Van Heusen, Darren Tate. Van Heusen going long, looking for Amy, but takes a special pass to get past Yamashita. That's not a good pass from Yamashita though. Now Faisal Roslan. Van Heusen pulls off. So it comes to Ikram Rifki. Back to Barry Maguire. Amy Rekka's making a run here, and he could get to this Amy Rekka. Oh, just the header from Yamashita, too good. Now Van Heusen sprays it to the far side. Chance for Geylang, maybe, no. Snuffed out when Ikram Rifki looked like he might be able to pull the trigger. Maguire. Over the top, looking for Amy again. Yamashita's there, though. Takes something special to beat him in the air, but Amy's going to get to this. Now back to Van Heusen. They need green shirts in the area to get on the end of a cross. Van Heusen, intelligent turn, Elijah Lim. Goes into the area, Elijah Lim. And they'll get a corner, their first of the game. Well, is this a final twist in this remarkable tale here? Final 60 seconds. Geylang, it's taken them 89 minutes to win a corner. And if I'm Noor Ali, I've got to be honest with you, I'm throwing Hyral forward for this. Shades of Allison, perhaps. That's not the call, though. In fact, Darren Tate and Elijah Lim are both outside of the area. Van Heusen to deliver. Got to get past the first line of defence when you're given that opportunity. But Van Heusen will get another go. The flag's up for offside. Well, that's it, you fancy. they're not going to get a better chance than a set piece there, the way this game is going. There'll be 4 minutes of time to be added on. Still 2-2 in the final throws at Jurong East, Tanjung Pagar and Balestier Khalsa, where they're only playing 3 minutes of time added on there, and they're already into that, so it looks like that's set for a 2-2 draw. Here, we're into the first of 4 to be added on. Ilhan Noor, it's come to Taniguchi. Taniguchi spraying it out wide to Nagasawa. Suzuki peels off as well. Nagasawa, he's seen Ito in space. It will come to Ito. He's got to control it and does so. Ito turns inside out. Darren Tay, 6-yard box. How Suzuki missed it. All he had to do was get a touch, and it's 3-1, game over. But bearing in mind how seldom Geylang have had the ball in Albirex final third. What threatened after 30 seconds of the second half to become a special comeback behind victory has really petered out as Suzuki somehow couldn't get on the end of that Ito cross, the 2 substitutes teaming up. They've won another free kick here. And Hyrule will come forward to launch it into the area. High line on the edge of the 18-yard box being set up by Albirex Niigata. It wouldn't be fair to say that Geylang have been bombarding Koga's goal, just the one shot on target in the entire match, but they did score from it. If they can get another one on target, they might score from that one as well and pinch a draw here. Hyrule hanging up well, keeper's calm. Ichikawa got there first, but couldn't direct it goalwards. And he can barely walk now, Yuki Ichikawa. So besieged is he with cramp, the 33-year-old, on his 201st SPL appearance. He got to this first, but just couldn't direct it towards the goal. Full-time whistle at Jurong East. Tanjung Pagar 2, Balestier Khalsa 2. Final change just to wind it down the clock. And it's going to be Taniguchi, who's not been able to add to his 3 goals this season. He's replaced by Takahashi. Yamashita, Hashioka, high and behind for a goal kick. Hashioka's been kept quiet. Been impressed by the work Darren Tay's done there. It's been one of Hashioka's quietest games for some time here tonight. Still over 60 seconds to go. If they can get the ball at the other end, you never know. But it's not looked likely, has it, since they fell behind again in the 66th minute. Van Heusen and Amy. Abirami Naidu again waiting for advantage, and now Third House involved in a challenge as well. Keiji Shigetomi's fuming on the touchline. They've given up the ghost here, Geylang, I think. They know that without Maresh, with the other injuries they've got, Convalius now retired, there's just not 2 goals in this team against a defensive unit like Albirex Niigata. Albirex have conceded 2 against the Sailors and 2 against Tampines. That's the only 2 games they've conceded more than a goal in this season. Faisal Roslan's lost out there. Suzuki's down. No penalty. No appeal either. Darren Tay. Third House has been worried out of that by the substitute, who does really well, but can't thread it through to Hashioka. But those, I think, are the final seconds drifting away. And I don't think there's enough time left here. It is going to be Albirex Niigata ensuring that they remain at the top of the table, where they've been for the most part this season, and where they hope to remain by the end of the campaign as we pass the halfway mark in the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season, going for 5 of the 6 last championships, the White Swans. And even though they've not been at their best today, like they've not been at their best for large parts of the season, they've picked up the 3 points, and that's all that matters. 7 days after they scraped past the Young Lions by 2 goals to 1, they're going to scrape past Geylang International by the same scoreline. And in truth, they've not really had to come out of third gear to do it. As our referee, who's had a very good game, Albirex Niigata, blows for full time. The story of this one, a 14th minute strike by Kosuke Chiku after Wayne Chu had been a bit too flash trying to play it out from the back and was let down by Thirdhouse. Chiku had time to pick his spot and glided it past the Geylang keeper to send Albirex in at half-time in front. Straight out the bat, though, at the start of the second stanza, an incredible goal from Maresh after a wonderful through ball by Thirdhouse Kasim, levelled things up, but Albirex turned up a notch after being levelled up, and a goal from a free kick, a glorious free kick by Tezuka for his third of the season, essentially ensured Albirex left our Tampines sub with all 3 points. Here's a look back at the goals. Barry Maguire getting in a muddle with Wayne Chu, then Thirdhouse far too casual. Chiku capitalised, gave it to Ong Yuen, who gave it straight back to his teammate, and how about that for a finish? Pinpoint perfection, Wayne Chu beaten, all ends up. That was 1-0 after 14 minutes, but how about this for a goal, by the way? The goal that lit up the start of the second stanza. Maresh, who unfortunately went off injured midway through the second half, not before he'd scored what was one of the goals of the weekend. A great through ball by Thirdhouse, and we're going to look at it now. Look at this, Thirdhouse playing it through, Maresh timing his run to perfection, through on goal, and Koga beaten. And that hasn't happened too many times this season. Maresh, 8 for the campaign, but he would go off injured, and when he went off injured, really Geylang's hopes of getting anything from this game, you felt, disintegrated. So Albirex were rocked by that, and they didn't exactly bombard the goal of the substitute Hyrule Sharin, but they did eventually make the breakthrough, the winning goal coming 24 minutes from full time, with a delightful, sublime free kick from Takahiro Tezuka, leaving Hyrule beaten in the second half like Wayne Chu was in the first, with a fine piece of outside-the-box pinpoint finishing. Geylang never really threatened to level it up, although Albirex couldn't put the game to bed, and that is how it wraps up here. Let's check out the tail of the tape for this one then. We'll rattle through these. We had 46 shots on goal here yesterday between Tampines and Hougang. It's safe to say we haven't got 46 shots on goal in this one, just the 10 in total. And Geylang, well, obviously they had that one shot on target. Quite frankly, they had to have had one shot on target to have scored a goal. That's actually the half-time stats. We do apologise, but they did have one shot on target. We'll make sure we get those stats to you at a later date. Suffice to say, there wasn't the same number of shots on target here as there was yesterday. Now, let's check out with the result from the other game tonight. I can tell you that Tanjung Pagar United and Balestier Khalsa shared the spoils in quite an absorbing game at Jurong East. Rioni Shiguchi after the half-hour mark, giving Tanjung Pagar the lead as they searched for their second win of the season. Zuzu living it up on the hour mark before a penalty from Kyra Lamry gave Tanjung Pagar the lead once more, but Zuzu responded a minute from the break to ensure the honours were even there. Now, what that means in terms of the league table, it means that Albirex Niigata go back, top of the table, played 11, 27 points with a goal difference of 18. The Lion City Sailors played 11, 26 points, and a goal difference of plus 21. The Albirex boys back on top, and at the bottom, Tanjung Pagar failing to pick up maximum points mean they stay 7th, but Geylang International now just a point ahead of them in 6th. So it's as you are at the bottom of the shop, but at the top of the pile as you break for the international break and the AFC competitions. It's Albirex Niigata, the defending champions, that will take June off knowing they sit atop of the summit of the AIA Singapore Premier League. Stay safe, stay well, stay home, stop the spread, and we look forward to welcoming you back to the AIA Singapore Premier League in around about a month's time. Keep checking back with the social media for updates on the league's resumption, and don't forget to follow the Lions as they go to Dubai and Saudi Arabia on their quest for the World Cup and Asian Cup qualification as they take on Uzbekistan, Palestine and Saudi Arabia. But from our Tampines Hub and all the team, we'll see you in a month's time.